Hi everybody, this is going to be my first video of a Let's Play on Medieval Total War 2. I'm going to play a single player campaign starting as England. I like the strategic position this puts you in, split across to both Britain and Europe. Also, it's quite challenging as you tend to get the more staunchly Catholic nations declaring war on you. So it's actually quite a trick to navigate the Pope's good grace. So without further ado, let's get into this and see what we're going to do. So I'm going to go for the Grand Campaign, England, medium difficulty, medium battle difficulty. It won't be too challenging in terms of battles. I actually find the strategic side of it more interesting, and the management of the settlements. No advice, don't need that. I've been playing it for quite a while. Going to tickle, manage all cities. We don't want to have the AI managing cities when we don't have a governor installed in there. Not going to show CPU moves. I like a little bit of a surprise, and going to have a battle time limit just because sometimes it's nice to know that the battle will come to an end eventually. So let's get started. Just going to escape
with
through
the
this.
Norman conquest and a crowd.
Right, so our starting position, we have two territories in Britain, Nottingham and London, and we have Caen. So probably our first priority needs to be taking the rest of the UK and also keeping an eye on what's going on in France. These are both rebel territories, so we can actually take those without causing any declarations of war. Also going to want to start getting a diplomat to start some trade discussions with some other countries so that we can get some additional revenue coming in. Like most of these sort of games, it's mainly about how much money you can make. That tends to be the clincher. If you run out of money, you tend to run out of the ability to wage war. So let's just see what we're going to start building in London. Since London's a city, we don't need to be too focused on building it up as a place to recruit units so far. So let's start off with a port. That's a good way of getting some trade coming in to start with. Nottingham will use our main hub in the UK to build and create units for campaigns, certainly within the UK and also on the mainland. A good place to start probably be Rhodes, just so we can move around quicker. Then I'll be looking at a leather tanner to increase their ability with armour. So each step up on the armour improvement route. So you start with a leather tanner, then I think there's a blacksmith, and then various other things as the territory grows. We'll also need to look at some of the other things for certainly increasing our ability to recruit bow troops, archers, and the various different types of infantry. So in Caen, what have we got there? So we've got garrison quarters, a port, and a castle. Let's go with a bowyer to start with, and we'll start doing that. Now, in terms of recruiting some troops, certainly on the continent, let's go for some mailed knights and spearmen. In London, we're fairly limited in what we can recruit at the minute, so we'll grab a spearman and a diplomat. And Nottingham, again, we'll go for mailed knights, and I'm going to recruit some peasants. I don't normally like recruiting them, but it's actually just for the initial stages. It means we can empty out the castle with these, which are actually useful units to join up with our faction heir. And then basically we can try and immediately take York. It's a very small village, so it shouldn't be too much of a challenge.
To battle it is then, sire.
Where to, sire?
We can use our spy to try and find out what's going on in York. There's a 50% chance of success. Is that a good chance? Who knows? Let's give it a try and see. No. So there goes our brave spy. Poor old Richard. Right, we also have a princess. Not sure what to do with her. I mean, they can offer marriages to create alliances, or they can also operate as diplomats. But for the moment, we'll just park her somewhere around here.
Post haste, sire.
Ships ready.
Going to put a ship at either end of the English Channel just to keep an eye on what's going on and trying to come through the channel. It also gives us the opportunity then to move characters fairly easy across the Pas de Calais, which will help us with moving some of the units over from the UK to Europe if we don't have the ability to recruit them on the continent. So again, we've got a fairly interesting army setup here. I'm going to try and take Rennes as fast as possible.
My lord.
So we'll take a family member, some archers,
my lord. Sire.
and spear militia.
Joining the others, sire. Orders. To war, then, sire.
So we also have a merchant, which can make some money for us initially. So we'll go to here. Wine is quite a good trade resource. In various playthroughs, I've realised actually some of the most useful trade commodities are actually in the Middle East. So we've got, you can't see them on there, but there's cotton, spices, even got ivory, and less palatably, we've got slaves down there as well. So if you actually do get a foothold in the Middle East, you can actually make a lot of money out of that. So our first moves for our diplomat, we're going to send him to this French castle and see if he can negotiate a trade deal.
What is it you would talk to us about, Signor?
It's a generous offer, so maybe we'll ask for them map information as well from them.
You enjoy holding us to ransom like this?
Yeah, they didn't like that. But on the bright side, we got a trade deal out of it.
Yes,
so
my lord.
We can also send him down further down this way.
Without question, sire.
Heading towards Spain and Portugal and the Moors. Right, we also have a cardinal. So if we look at if you highlight a cardinal or a priest, you can then actually, that same goes for if you're Islamic or, I can't remember what the Russians are, Orthodox. If you click on the priest and then hover over a territory, it will tell you how much of that territory is a percentage of the religion that priest is. So let's move him down to London.
Godspeed.
And increase the level of Catholicism there. If we look at the details, you can see we've got some pagans and also a heretic influence there somewhere. Right, that'll do for the first go, first round, and
Fleet ready, sire.
let's see if there's anything else. No, so let's go from there. So end of turn report. So we spent a lot of money. Still got 5,000 left. That will gradually deplete, or fairly rapidly deplete, depending on what we build. So complete the dirt roads in Nottingham. There's our recruitment report. So one of the challenges we're going to have in the UK is that Scotland get belligerent fairly quickly.
My lord.
One of our uses we could put this to is actually try and marry a princess off to
Your will, sire.
one of the Scottish princes and create an alliance, maybe.
To battle it is, then, sire.
But we'll try
Prepare
that in a
to
minute.
assault the walls. We
So-
lay siege.
What we can either do is, if we want to assault this village, we can do it now, or we can just maintain the siege. So in the interest of actually not losing too many troops early on, because it costs
The
money to
siege
replace
goes
them,
as planned,
we'll
sire.
siege them out, and then eventually they'll either just give up or they'll attack us.
Daughter of the Crown.
Yes,
So
Your
let's
Highness.
carry on with that move
On my
there.
way.
Uh,
Your
we
orders,
have a
sire.
diplomat there, so if you see, you can actually just move them straight down to a boat there,
Sire.
and then effectively
Leaving
move
the
them straight
fleet,
off.
sire.
So this particular diplomat will send
Yes, my lord.
over towards this way, which
Without
is pretty much
question,
where the Holy
sire.
Roman Empire tends to
Tomorrow's
be
journey
concentrated.
planned out, sire.
And while we're at it, I'll recruit another diplomat. And we're going to send these
Orders.
spearmen
Sire, my lord.
up north
Yes.
to meet up with our army. So we can also build something else there. I think we'll go with the garrison quarters so that we can build spearmen. Actually, sorry, let's just... got nothing we can recruit apart from Hobilars. They're quite useful, particularly against the Scots. The Scots have some quite fast
Sire,
light
as you wish.
cavalry, which can be a
Merging
bit of a
armies,
problem.
my lord.
So, what's going on in Khan? Let's recruit in Khan. Right, I don't particularly want to recruit any more peasants, so I think we'll go with a couple of cogs, which are basically just ships. Fairly basic, but at the beginning of the game they're suitable, and we'll get some Hobilars as well to join with this army over here.
Orders.
And we'll move to Rennes
To war,
and we'll
then,
attack
sire.
that. Now this
Yes,
one
sire.
actually has got
Besieging the
defences,
enemy.
a wall around it, so we're going to need at least a ram to get through the gate. If we've got time, and I've got to do it anyway, I tend to build two just because sometimes it gets shot with arrows and set on fire. So, other than that, we'll click on Maintain Siege. and
Our
just see
sieging
what
army
goes
is
on
at
there.
your command, sire.
At your service. Journeying onward.
Right,
Opening a new trade lane, my liege.
that's it. End of turn.
Greetings. We have a word for you.
So, that's a nice deal from Scotland. We'll go with that for now.
reach an agreement.
We can also
Very
make
well.
another offer of map
What's your
information.
next
and map
suggestion?
information. See what they know, and they'll get to see what we know of the map.
I accept this offer.
Excellent.
Well, that was uneventful. Good day.
Alright, so we're down to 1900 gold now. As you see, we spent a fair bit of money last time round. We'll have to start trying to build up some extra income as fast as possible. So the port in London, that's a good start. And these are all of our recruitments again. So we've got another diplomat. Diplomats can also bribe enemy generals. I have had so little success with bribing enemy generals. I actually tend to just use them either as just unofficial spies to try and
Yes, my lord. Going ashore.
keep an eye on enemy
Yes, my lord.
territories, or sometimes to offer ceasefire, that sort of thing. But I say very unsuccessful in terms of offering
Without
bribes,
question, sire.
particularly to rebel generals. So, right. Let's match
Ships
that with
ready.
that.
Joining the fleet, sire.
Sire,
What you can also do if you're short on family members is actually just use armies without
Your will, sire.
a captain. And then quite often what you'll get is a hero of the hour if you win the battle, and the captain will be promoted to a family member. Also randomly you get people that you can adopt into the family as well. So what do we want to do now? Let's have a look what we can build here. Trill Square. Right, we can now recruit archers, which is quite handy. Right, because it's going to be certainly at the start, it might be our only castle on the continent. I want to try and get this up to a fair standard of creating troops. So we'll get the leather tanner so that anything we recruit then has got better armor. We'll recruit an archer and a spearman and a cog. That takes us down to 289 gold. And again, let's if we look at our income, you can see we've got the different categories: farming, mining, trade, merchant trade, taxes, wages, army upkeep, Large armies drain your coffers very quickly, so it's worth keeping an eye on that. King's Purse, you obviously get a salary as the king, which is cool. Corruption and others. Sometimes you get traits on your characters where they'll be bad with taxes or easy to bribe, and you'll see that number go up quite a lot. You actually see that it drops your income quite significantly if you don't, if you're not careful. I have been known to try and get a character killed because he has such bad traits, but hopefully for now we're not doing too badly.
Yes. We'll make camp here, sire. My lord.
Hobblars.
By your command.
Right,
Joining
and
forces,
I'm
my
expecting
lord.
in this next round we'll have at least one battle because York should surrender. So let's see what happens next.
Glorious victory is ours, sire.
Right, so that was a nice
As you
easy,
commanded, sire, these lands are now yours.
nice easy victory. I'm going to just occupy the settlement here. The reason being, obviously, it drops down the population, and it's certainly we don't want to exterminate the population in our home island. So we'll just occupy for now. So we've got someone that's turned up as a worthy bride, so a confident attacker, the prince, sorry. A confident attacker, brave, promising commander, loyal, dutifully religious. So he seems quite a good match. He's only 30, so there's plenty of chance for them to have children. Quite chivalrous. Not too much of a command at the minute, but we can increase that by using it in battles. So I'll accept that. Okay, so we've got a mission being issued by a council of nobles. These will keep popping up every once in a while. You also get missions from the Pope. So we've got to increase our forces by at least 4 units in Nottingham, which is going to be difficult because we're actually, if we look at our end of term report, we're in minus figures. So that's not so good. We'll have a look at our financials and see where that went. Corruption's gone up a little bit. King's Purse, our army upkeep is increased. So our best bet is actually to take Rennes as fast as possible. Prince Rufus, +1 chivalry, that's because we didn't sack the settlement. And our construction's complete. There's our recruitment report. And marriage. And they're obviously set up in London. Robert feels unappreciated. And that's because he's not been getting much fighting action at the minute, so we'll see if we can solve that for him in a moment. One of the things we've got to try and do is reduce our expenditure. Now,
Orders. My king.
if you right click on any of the units you can see the cost. So mailed knights are quite expensive at 250. Levy spearmen less so, and again obviously the further you go down the chain the worse they get. I don't want to get rid of that just yet, so I'm going to manage that with him.
March to exhaustion, sire. Continuing death. Combining forces,
I
sire.
will get rid of the peasants. And let's see what other units we can disband. So let's get rid of those peasants as well.
Sire. Yes, sire.
Now, if we look, a quick way of getting some money on will be to achieve this mission, so we need to actually increase by at least 4 units. So if we got 4 that we can use here, 1, 2, 3, 4, if we send them back, that should then gain us some extra money. Ships are also fairly pricey, but they are increasingly useful, so I'm hesitant to actually get rid of those.
Ready, sire. Yes, sir. Full sails.
Let's
Sire.
take that out.
Yes, my lord. Engage
So
the
that was a
enemy
clear
fleet.
victory. If we look at the details, we can see we lost 16 off one ship, 19 off another. So again,
Our
we'll need
people
to
rule these waters, sire.
send that one back
We'll
to be
drop
retrained
anchor
at some
until
point.
morning, sire.
Admiral has also got an extra
Ships
star
ready.
of
Aye, sire.
command.
Fleet
Let's
ready,
see.
sire.
So let's just pop that one back there in
Fine
case
day
we
to
need to
sail.
get anyone across the channel. So what we really need is some
Sire.
extra trade deals.
Yes, sire. Tomorrow's journey planned
we'll
out.
get
Yes,
our-
my lord. Without question, sire. Tomorrow's journey planned
Get our
out,
diplomats
sire.
moving in the right direction. As you can see, there's
Sire.
a lot of rebel territory that we can take.
Yes,
The
sire.
problem is without the money
Tomorrow's
to do so,
journey planned
makes it a
out,
bit
sire.
tricky. So let's click end of turn.
To ambush.
So Eleanor of Northampton. Right. So let's accept that. End of turn report. We're now £700 in the red, or 700 gold in the red. So we're losing less each turn, but we need to turn that round. Construction complete, leather talent in Khan, and marriage celebrations. So best we don't get him killed before the honeymoon. There's one more turn till surrender on that one. I'm tempted to let that see
Sire.
if it'll attack us or just
As
wait
you
and
wish.
see.
Merging armies, my lord.
So
Ships ready.
this is where we
Set
start to
sail.
get a bit grumpy with the Scots and potentially see if we can take Edinburgh. Edinburgh is a very large city, probably bigger than London at this stage in the game. And there's a rebel castle up there. So and we're also going to want to take Ireland at some point. And there's a castle in Carnarvon which we haven't discovered yet.
God's
We can send
in God's name.
priest over there to have a look. Right.
Your Majesty. Without question, sire. Tomorrow. Yes, my lord. Yes, sire.
That's handy. Danish faction there. Let's
Is there something I can do for you?
suggest trade rights with them.
We have no complaints with this plan. We accept.
Some
You have another
map
proposal
information is
then?
always useful.
Your plan seems balanced enough to me.
Oh,
Very well.
more, they're being very amenable. Let's see if we can offer an alliance with
Please
Denmark.
continue with your suggestions.
Oh, it's a generous offer, so why don't we ask for a payment, because we really could do with the money. Let's say 1,000. Still balanced, so maybe that would be enough. Let's see.
No, we will not accept such a thing.
Okay, but they will give us 700, which is kind of handy. That's almost our entire debt, so we'll accept that.
A fair deal, it would seem, yes? Your time was most valuable. We thank you.
Yes, my lord.
So if we now look at the map,
question,
you can
sire.
see we've obviously unlocked, they've shown us what territory they've got. So it's quite an important thing to do whenever you do a new faction, meet a new faction.
Yes, Your Highness.
Your Majesty.
Right, so we have a battle coming up. What I'll probably do is at the end of this battle I'll stop this video because it'll be nearly 30 minutes long then. That's more than long enough for a first video. So we've got them quite heavily outnumbered. They're also just got a captain rather than an actual full-on general. So we could auto-save this one, but we'd actually lose a lot of troops. So let's try and do it on the battle map.
There'll be no escaping us now! Attack!
Now, because this is a sally forth from a city, there'll be no
Units, await my
chance
orders.
to do anything like setting up the battle how we want to do it. So I'm having to pause it at the minute. They will suddenly come charging out of their gates. As you can see, the gates are already open, and they're behind it. So what we need to do is very quickly set up a defensive formation. So we'll go with all of our spearmen. We'll put guard mode on, and using the group formation, put single lines into single line of units, which will then enable us to spread across that area there with quite a good depth. So they'll have to come to us. Let's get them running, and then we want our archers. First of all, get them to drop their siege equipment. To actually make that take effect, you have to unpause it and then pause it again. So let's group those. I'm going to put disable, put it in guard mode so they don't break formation. And again, a single line. And if we press the space bar, we can see highlighted where our other units are going to be lining up. So we'll line the archers up behind them and get them running there. Now, the knights I'm going to put in this wood, mainly so that they can attack the flank of anything coming out of the castle. And the Hobilars, let's move them over to the other flank. And you can actually do multiple waypoints by pressing the shift button. So they've gone over there. And our general, let's get him back somewhere safe. We don't want to lose him just yet. He's only just got married after all. Right, and let's let this run. So they've got some crossbowmen, some heavy cavalry, quite a lot of, which is going to be a challenge. That should be okay against, our spearmen should do okay against that, but it kind of depends on whether or not they hit us in a vulnerable point. Sometimes the AI can be quite thick. And again, here come the knights. So our archers are already firing. They'll tend to take out the enemy ranged troops first. If you look, the cavalry is already coming into charge against our spearmen, which is okay. We can get a couple of them attacking that. Let's protect their flank by attacking those. Again, we don't want to charge cavalry to spearmen, so we'll attack them with our spearmen first. That way they'll have to. Look, they've already routed actually, which is quite unfortunate for them. So now we can send our cavalry after them.
The battle is very much in our favour. If we remain true and steadfast, victory will be ours.
We'll use this unit here to attack. We'll help knights again. Right, I'm going to tell our archers to stop firing so they don't shoot our own troops. And then we're going to use our cavalry to take out their archers. Their general is probably within this cavalry, so...
Good tidings. The enemy general lies dead. We've sent the base cur to hell.
That'll make things a lot easier for us. Their other units will rout a lot quicker now. And as you can see, they're all running back into the building.
The enemy army flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
We'll end the battle there because there's not much else that can happen other than the fact we're just getting to the town itself.
This is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valour.
So, if you look at the casualty inflicted, the archers take on an enormous amount of power later on in the game once you get longbowmen and stuff like that. You can really
Such is
whittle
the
down.
fate of all who oppose us.
Whittle down
Victory! These people now kneel before us, my lord.
I'll let him finish his speech. Because this is a rebel settlement, I'm going to be a little bit harsher. Mainly because I need the money right now. Unfortunately, we'll end up massacring 500 of the populace, but they were rebels, so to quote Star Wars, rebel scum. So let's do that, and at least we'll have some money to spend for the next round. I'm going to stop the video there, guys, because it's coming up to 30 minutes, which is more than long enough for people to listen to. So I'll start another video and play that a bit later. Thanks for watching, if you are watching. As I say, this is a first for me. I've never tried doing a YouTube channel, so we'll see how this works. If anyone does watch it, like, comment, subscribe, do the usual stuff, whatever professional YouTubers say at the end of their videos. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.